It is being recorded for later playback on Westwood Media Center channel, right? Or website.
That's correct. Yep.
And it is 7:04 p.m. So I'm calling the meeting to order. And I don't see any members of the public, so I don't think we have public comment. So the next item is the consent agenda. I know Angela sent the agenda out. Does anyone have anything they wish to remove under that portion of the agenda? No, okay. Can I get someone to make a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I move to, oh, go ahead, Joyce.
I'll move to approve the consent agenda.
Joyce moves to approve it. Do you want a second, Paul?
Oh, sure.
Paul will
I
second.
second it.
We're a
And
good team,
I'm
aren't we,
in
Paul?
favor. Katie, are you in favor?
Yep.
And Sheila, are you in favor?
Yep.
All right, so everyone's in favor. So the consent agenda is approved. And so now the minutes from October 25th, those were sent around as well. Assuming there were no comments because people are supposed to get back to Angela, do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
Well, is it yours or what you want me to do this one too?
Well, how about Katie or Sheila?
Can
Sheila's
I
taking notes.
motion when I'm taking notes?
I think you can, yeah.
Oh,
course.
you know that. Oh, never knew that. Okay.
But you're busy, so I don't want to put too much on you, you know.
All right, I'll move. How's that?
All right, Paul moves. Any seconds?
I'll second.
Katie
right, Katie.
seconds. I'm in favor. Joyce, are you in favor?
I'm in favor.
And Sheila, are you in favor?
Yes.
All right, so the minutes are approved. Monthly report. That's you, Rich, right?
Yeah. Let's see if I can pick out a couple of highlights here.
Sorry
So
about
one
that.
thing
That's
that's a
all
little
right.
bit out of the ordinary, we had, not that this is exciting stuff, but we had Michelle Miller, who's our procurement manager, come down and talk to the staff about the proper procedures for monitoring and hiring vendors and whatnot for our programs.
Okay.
Some of our programs this year especially were quite large. The sports programs outdoors and whatnot, and there are certain rules, a dollar threshold we have to abide by for procuring vendors and whatnot. So we did a little refresher course there to make sure that all the folks that are doing that hiring are familiar with and abide by those rules, which is important. Couple other things that are a little bit out of the ordinary. Martha Jones asked us if we'd help them with their Halloween event, and we lent them some equipment, which we were happy to do, and everything came back in perfect order. And also the Westwood Young Women's Club had a Harvest Fest, and they did a pumpkin carving similar to what we did last year, and they had other events, and they needed a loudspeaker, which we lent them ours, and they asked us a lot of advice on how to and whatnot. We shared that with them, and they were both groups were very appreciative of the assistance that we gave them.
That's great.
That's great.
Yeah, so so those are some of the highlights. Of course, we have the the typical highlights from our aquatics group, which continues to do a ton of stuff with that pool, and we continue to operate under the modified COVID restrictions with the reserved swim times, which is a lot of our patrons are told us that they'd like to see us continue that even when the day when there's no such thing as COVID that we have to worry about. And I say that optimistically, that it's a change that a lot of people have taken to. So
Yeah, I can see that.
and our swim team is ramping up now, and numbers are as they are historically high, and it's going quite well with that as well. So that's good to see that our winter swim team, which of course you may recall we couldn't do last year at all. It's good to see that that's back this year.
Yeah. Is this the place where you want to? Nope, that's later on. Okay, sorry.
I do have a question for you, Rich. So who's the recreation department obligated to run the contracts by? Is that the town hall legal counsel, or is there a contracts division? I've never come across this before. Never heard
Yeah,
this before.
so any contract that we would enter into, especially like it's some of the contracts we do are the same thing every year, so we just have it reviewed once and we're done. But yeah, procurement and legal.
Okay.
Yep.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do any commission members have reports? That's the next agenda item. I should go back to the minutes. Was anyone supposed to follow up on anything?
I don't remember that there was.
Yeah, I don't think
Well,
so.
Not for reports, but that org chart, did anybody have a chance to look at that?
Mhm.
I love it.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
actually
it really-
next on the agenda.
Yeah, that's great. So I'm jumping ahead, but any of
Yeah.
That's okay.
Well, let's do the introductions
Yeah.
now.
All right,
Yay.
Holly.
So we have Holly Coots, who's our new aquatics manager. She started November 1st and was very excited to have her come and meet you all tonight. And she is now represents the 8th member of our team, which means we're fully staffed for the first time since February of 2020, which believe me when I tell
Unbelievable.
you, I am remarkably excited about that.
I'm sure
Even
you
more
are.
excited to have Holly on the team. She's a terrific person, and she's fitting right into the group. And I'll turn it over to Holly to introduce herself, tell us about her background, and maybe a little bit about her first 2 weeks on the job.
Sure. So my name's Holly Coots, and this is week 3 for me here. Prior to coming to Westwood, I was at the town of Plymouth. I worked for their recreation department. I was their office manager and their program administrator. And part of their program administrator duties, I was actually in charge of the lifeguards during the summer months. They do not have a town pool there. They operate 5 different beaches. 3 of them are pond fronts and the other 2 are ocean fronts. So I had to maintain my lifeguard instructor and certifications to be able to train new guards, recertify returning guards, and I also have my water safety instructor trainer license, so I could certify swim instructors on staff to conduct swim lessons. We did those in the pond. So it was kind of some of my aquatic background duties there. Other program duties, which I don't have to really touch now, but I was a t-ball coach, a gymnastics coach, a soccer coach. I was in charge of a lot of the part-time staff, finding rental coverage, birthday coverage, that kind of stuff. So pretty well-rounded in there in the program and rec atmosphere. And then prior to the town of Plymouth, I worked with the Brockton YMCA. I was their aquatics and program director there. And I was there for 5 years. And then prior to that is really where I kind of got my start. The Stoughton JCC then became the Stoughton YMCA. And that's where I got certified at 15 as a lifeguard and kind of just grew their career ladder up into the head guard positions, the swim instructor positions, the coordinator positions, and then moved into that full-time role as the aquatics director and program person over in Brockton, and then left there and had the great opportunity to join Plymouth and was there for 8 years. And that's kind of where it's brought me back here now. I missed the pool life, and Westwood has a pool that you can operate year round. You know, you don't have a town pool very commonly that you see that's run by a rec department. So, you know, when something like that opened, it was a great decision for me to jump and really get back into it full time. So, yeah.
Great.
Excellent. Welcome aboard, Holly.
Yeah, thank you. This past Friday, Sue taught me how to backwash the pool. So that was fun.
All right.
We
You'll learn a lot from Sue.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
yeah.
She's
We
the
Have you
lost
best.
managed
power.
all the big equipment
Yeah.
yet?
Yes, yeah, we're getting used to it. Taking a lot of notes down there. Friday we lost power, so we had swim team going on, and the kids were in the water, and the power went out, and we had to get all the kids out of the pool. It was like pitch black, and then the emergency lights came on. So it was a very interesting night Friday when I think actually a chunk of the town might have lost power, and that transformer got hit right outside the high school. But yeah, that was a fun, interesting night. Troubleshooting a lot of things, but yeah, it's exciting, and I'm learning something new every day. So it's great to be here.
Welcome aboard.
Welcome. We're happy to have you here. I'm
Thank
Ann Delaney, Chair of the Rec Commission.
Hi, Ann.
So welcome.
Thank you.
Do you guys want to go around and introduce yourselves?
Hi, Holly. Paul Jusseri. Been a member for a very long time. Hope to be one even longer.
Hi, Paul.
Hi.
Katie?
Sure.
Oh,
Joyce
sorry.
Joyce Cannon, member for a while too. It's not as long as Paul, but
Longer than
welcome.
me.
Thank you.
that should, but not much, not much.
Oh, okay.
Holly, sorry I'm late. Mitch Katzman, nice to meet you.
All right, we'll go
Mitch.
Katie and then Sheila.
I'm Katie Collins. I'm brand new. This is my second meeting.
Second
Nice.
meeting in official capacity. Yeah.
Hi, Holly. I'm Sheila Moylan. I probably came right before Mitch and after Joyce, right, Joyce?
Yeah, after, I guess I was after
Or
Joyce.
after Ann.
After me, yeah. So welcome.
Thank you.
And the only person that we don't have present tonight at this point now is Elizabeth Phillips, who is an associate member of the commission.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And the next thing is the org chart. I'm trying to find which page this is.
Towards the end.
5.
It's 5. Oh, it just wasn't loading. Oh, and let's see, can I?
Pictures now too.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Paul,
Very fancy,
Paul, I
Rich.
was happy to see that you were happy with this org chart.
Oh my God, it's great. I
Paul has
really
been
do.
clamoring.
No, I love it. It just, I mean, I do this at work for the people, for the folks that report to me who are out, in the
This is-
public and seeing
it is
everybody.
great.
And I think it's, just to put a face, and it's like, yeah, I know, like, I know those cabling contractors. I know the guys who do the PCs. That's the face. And now and this makes it easier too, same thing, Angela and,
Yeah.
Kerry and all the whole crew. I think it's fantastic. But
So
Yep.
does anybody have any questions about the org chart? Obviously, Holly's the most recent addition. Everybody else has been there since the last time we gave an org chart, I think 2 meetings ago. So this is any
perfect.
other discussion about that? No?
Oh, looks great.
Yeah,
Okay.
I like it.
Terrific.
And it's full, so that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's-
let's
that's
keep
the
it that
big
way. There's
part
not
about it.
a
Yeah.
lot of organizations can say that they're fully staffed. So this is great.
Mhm.
Yeah.
No,
So-
especially not today.
I know. All right, so I wanted to give you a quick update on where we are with programming. So as you know, I mentioned last time we were working on finalizing our winter programming. We're able to get the brochure out to the printer last week on Wednesday, actually 2 days ahead of our schedule, which was the first time we actually made our deadline in a while. So it was good to be able to work on the brochure and work on it in the timeline and get it done on time, which was great. And again, some of that is just reflective of the fact that we now have a full staff and we're able to focus on these things. And for the first time, and well, really since the big early last spring, late winter, we feel like we got our feet underneath us again. And that this is one of the things that's reflective of that. And so we will definitely we're on course to have our winter registration start on December 3rd at 12 p.m. So yeah, so we're in good shape there. And although I didn't put this on here, we're actually now going to immediately turn our focus to spring and summer. I shot a note to district administration today to start talking about space for the summer, which will be, a key thing so that we can start planning our summer, programs
Right.
and getting that taken care of. And get ahead of that. And, it's just nice to be able to be on this glide path where we're ahead of things rather than, running to catch up. So.
Any new programs this winter that we haven't run before?
Actually, yeah. So one of the programs, I believe I mentioned this to you all probably about 6 months or so ago. We are working on a program that was called iSTEAM. The I stands for inclusive, and it's a program that is developed for neurodiverse and neurotypical children to work together in a team environment using Legos to help both groups learn to socialize with each other and whatnot. And we got a grant for this. And so it'll be, the pilot program will be a free program, and for 2 groups of 8 kids, so 16 total for the pilot. And from that pilot, we're going to learn a lot of ways to run a program where we have children on the spectrum, socializing and working with, typical children. And it's going to be a really exciting, really interesting program to help, open up our department to more kids.
Great.
Yeah.
So Rich, so I can write this right. You're teaching socializing with what type of students? What type of children?
Yeah, neurodiverse and neurotypical.
Okay. Thank you.
And do we hire staff
Yeah,
to run
so-
it, or
Yes, we
teachers?
have 2 what are known as BCBAs, board certified behavioral analysts, and 2 BTs, behavioral technicians, I believe they're referred to as. And the idea is to create a curriculum that will allow these children to interact, and to have, it requires special skills and training to do that and to work with these children. And so we're bringing in the experts to help run this program.
That's great.
Yeah,
I hope it goes well.
thank you.
I think you're
Was there a
muted,
request
Paul.
for that,
Thank you.
Rich? Was there a
Pardon me?
request? Was there a request for this type of a class, or how did you guys come up with this?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, a mom came to us, and see that these programs exist, but they're very expensive.
Okay.
And so the idea is that if we can continue to get grants, we'll be able to run this type of programming on an ongoing basis. So this mom came to us with the idea, helped us with the grant, and is very plugged into the community and was able to bring in all these experts and whatnot, and is helping us recruit the staff required to run the program.
Fantastic.
So Rich, are you doing anything with I know it's really early in the program, but are you doing anything with special ed in the school systems? Are you communicating this effort to those folks yet? Or are we waiting?
Some of the people that are in there are part of the staff that will be running this program.
Great.
That's awesome.
Excellent.
Yeah, and so that was one, and then there was a second one that, for the life of me, I can't remember what it is off the top of my head, but there's 1 or 2 other new programs. One of them, we're offering a cooking class, which we tried to run in the past and we didn't get much traction on, but we're going to give it another go. And we're running some programs. As you may know, we used to run a lot of programs at Downey after school, where we would pick up the children at dismissal and run the programs, and then the parents would just have to come pick them up at the end of our program. But now that Downey is doing extended day, we weren't able to do that anymore there, but we're now going to doing a lot of those programs at Deerfield. So a lot of those programs are in the brochure for the winter. Yeah, we were able to do a couple of those type of programs this fall, and we've expanded.
Just curious, I know what things have changed, but with COVID, thank goodness, but are you doing any of the outdoor programs I saw last year, like the hockey or even tennis, to try to do as much outdoors as possible?
Yeah, so we're doing some of that. We're not going to run tennis this winter, but we're doing plenty of outdoor activities for the fall. The hockey that you're referring to was in the spring, and so we'll be meeting with, we worked with the youth hockey group in Westwood for that last spring, and we'll be meeting with them as we start to plan our spring and summer programming to see what we can do, if we can replicate that again this year.
Oh, I didn't realize that wasn't in the winter.
No.
I saw them up at the high school. Joe Berdone looked like they're having a great class.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you meant the street hockey league. Yeah, I know which program you're talking about. Again, I don't know if we're specifically running that. I think we are, but I can't say for certain.
You still may
guess
have
we'll
some
see.
parents. So you still may have some parents who want their kids to be outside, rather be
Right.
outside than in a gym. So.
Absolutely. Yep.
Especially around the holidays.
Yeah. So,
Facilities update? I see
Yeah,
pickleball
so,
on the agenda.
right. So there's a couple of updates about pickleball. So the last meeting, I think it was you, Ann, that asked if there was something that could be done at Deerfield with having more permanent lines painted on the floor for the programs that we were running for pickleball there. So I've put a request in just end of last week, I believe, and I'm waiting for an answer on that. So I'll let you know as soon as I know, but I'm pursuing that. So that is in progress. And then also with the passage of the school project, the Hanlon Deerfield School Project, that was one of the prerequisites before we could make a determination what we're going to do with that tennis courts at the old tennis courts at Sheehan. And so I need to get a plan, if you will, or some indication from the school what they're going to do with Sheehan, because of course Sheehan still needs some work too. And just need assurance that that area is not going to get touched, and then we can start whenever that is, we can start on the project for the pickleball courts, hopefully at Sheehan. So I've been talking to Chris Coleman a lot about this, and there's no specific timeline, but we are working with the schools to try to get an indication, as to what kind of plan, what kind of thoughts they're talking about there, so that we can start putting a timeline together for the pickleball courts at Sheehan. So in the meantime, there's a lot. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to ask if we still need approval, like budget approval for that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They won't even consider a budget request until we have a definitive answer on the location. Okay. Right. So, so there have been a few residents that are really looking forward to having more access to pickleball. And one of the things that Chris and I talked about was maybe having some more lines painted at the high school, which would expand that access to evening play because of the lights as well. So I talked to Matt Gillis, and he has no objection. So that's one possibility of something that we could do to expand access to pickleball in the meantime.
So Rich, this is interesting. I just have a couple of comments on that. Number one, that the tennis courts during the summer and during the late spring is like packed.
Yeah.
I mean, for us to throw more users at that space would be something we really have to think about.
Yep.
So we need to be cautious about what we do there.
Right.
The other one is, and the other one is, oh, go ahead, Mitch. What do you want?
Finish and then I'll go.
Okay, and the other thing is, are we steering people who are interested in pickleball over to the Downey? I mean,
Absolutely.
and do we know what the usage is there?
It's hard, Paul,
Yeah.
because I mean, we're not there, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? And
I hear
so
you, yeah.
it-
But no
it's
one's,
hard to- It's hard to, I can tell you what's going on with tennis because every night when I leave, and of course, we're in and out of the office all day long and it's right there at the high
Right.
school, but at Downey, we just don't know. I can tell you that whenever I hear from a resident, I immediately encourage them to use the courts at Downey, that we have nets, temporary nets that they can, borrow from us. And I've got no takers on the nets. And I've even
Since-
asked some residents to, and including the group that came before you all, I believe like in February of this year, and to ask if they've been using them, how it's been going, and I've gotten no response. Yeah.
So I just have to echo what Paul is saying here. Let's not go overboard on pickleball because there are a lot of tennis players.
Right.
And summer evenings and in the real season, those courts are busy. I'm there. I play as well. And
Right.
other than the aesthetics of having a lot of lines, it's really confusing. I played over at Wimbledon 109. This is an aside, and they have the pickleball. The lines in the regular courts make it very confusing. But putting that aside, we need to leave enough space for tennis players. They are tennis courts, and we have the two at Downey, and I think there are lines on one of the courts already at the high school, if not temporary. I don't know if they're permanent or temporary because I saw there was a class going on there.
Those are
in the mornings.
temporary.
Temporary.
Those are temporary.
They have little plastic things that they use. They're not, they pick them up after each class.
was that through the Recreation Commission?
Yes, the
Department.
department, our department, yeah.
Yeah, it looked like a lot of fun. I happened to be playing tennis there one morning, and there was some four groups of mostly women, and they looked like they're having a ball.
Yeah, I can tell you that it was so, the first round was so successful. They asked us to, and we created a second round of classes this fall. And we'll, now we're going to switch to indoor using Deerfield for the winter. So, and I, Paul and Mitch, I hear both of you. I was not suggesting that we're definitively going to do that. I've just been simply exploring options and answering questions, if you will. I was asked to check with the high school to see if there would be any objections if we were to do anything more with that, and there aren't any. So I'm not going to paint any lines on that court now because we're going to have them resurfaced next spring, and I wouldn't do that. And at the earliest I would paint any new lines would be after they get resurfaced. If we were to do it, you'd need to wait until then. It would be pointless to do it now and then have them painted over, next spring. Did we lose Paul?
I think we did, but it sounds like the recommendation, at least from Paul and Mitch, would be
Right.
push hard for the Sheehan courts.
Absolutely. And what I would do, and I've been explaining to residents that, that are asking for, more, that there's one resident who's asking that the Downey courts be made exclusively pickleball. And I made it clear that you all voted to just paint lines at Downey, and that's what we did. And before there's any additional changes, I would bring it before you all for a vote. Okay, so I'm just explaining to you sort of the developments and what I've been working on at various people. So.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely sounds like there's a need for exclusive courts at Sheehan. Probably, I think you take the tennis courts away from that side of town, it's going to be a problem.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I did see.
Go ahead.
In the drills, in the outdoor pickleball that I did see, they had the nets. They were able to play on both sides of the net. So
correct.
The main nets for tennis could still stay up. I don't think I don't think we need to take those nets down. There were 2 games going on with the regular tennis nets there, and they seem to be enjoying it. So
Yeah, I took the evening lessons. They were actually a lot of fun. I recommend them.
Yeah, I can tell you that I think that is the most reasonable approach but there are people that are looking for dedicated court.
Yeah, of
They don't
course.
want to have to borrow a net, set it up, and they want, just like the tennis that are dedicated for tennis, they want dedicated pickleball. And obviously we're all working towards that, and nobody would like to see that happen more than me. It's just, we just need to make sure, of course, and I'm sure that you all know that we have a site that will be undisturbed by any future renovations or construction. We don't want to, spend that much money on pickleball and then have it built over. Right.
Has
So-
anyone have you looked at the new plans over at the new school and to see if there's a way we could put a pickleball court over there?
I
Since
think
it's gonna
that
be
plan is pretty well packed. I mean, I've looked at the plans where they have plans for a soccer field and a baseball field. And they will be able to play soccer and baseball at the same time. Whereas right now, those fields sort of overlap if you're out there, right? So there's going to be more field space, but I did not. And I mean, I didn't look at it from an engineer's perspective to see if it would fit in, but it didn't appear that there was any free space.
Okay. Because we could duplicate what's over at Norwood. I mean, they have 4 really nice courts, all encased in a chain link fence area.
Right. That's right. And I mean, ultimately, that's the plan. In fact, I think the plan that the plan and the quote that we have is for 6 or 8 courts. So it'll be quite nice once we have the right conditions for it. Right. So
Okay.
so work continues. You know what I mean? And we're going to do our best to accommodate those that want to play pickleball by sharing the courts and, using the portable nets. All right.
So School Street, and I
Yeah.
think Paul's coming back.
Oh, here he is. Okay. So I just wanted to give you an update on a project that I've been working on now for a month or so, maybe a little bit longer. At School Street, Chris Coleman and I and Jim McCarthy from DPW met with some folks from the Committee on Disabilities to talk about adding some handicap accessible elements to the School Street playground. Okay, and making, I think we're talking 3 elements, and having some better wheelchair access through a different type of mat. It's actually poured in place matting, okay, around those elements. So I literally just got we had a nice meeting, talked about what they would like to see. I just got the things in writing, the more specifics, the plan from what they would like to see last week. And I've sent it off to the folks that we use to buy playground equipment and install playground equipment to get a quote to see what kind of money we're talking about. It won't be inexpensive, and we'll have to do some fundraising, and there'll be a lot of work to do once we get that quote. As you may recall, that playground was put in place probably about 20 years ago, and a lot of fundraising was done by the Westwood Young Women's Club. And so, Chris has some ideas about fundraising. We'll probably reach out to them as well and move that down, that project forward to try to, obtain the money to be able to do something like that.
It sounds like definitely a very worthwhile cause.
Yeah.
So
Someone like a Roach Brothers, since it's right in their backyard, I'm sure would like to make a contribution to that.
Yeah,
And have a big plaque.
We'll certainly
Yeah.
approach them.
Yeah.
But of course, they
Yeah.
were very generous with the June Street playground, right? So
yeah, I wonder, are there any new businesses right in Islington Center that might want to? I don't know,
yeah.
maybe not new, but like CVS is there and,
Yeah, so the answer is yes. And that's part of the discussion.
Oh, so how about first of all, I have to apologize to everybody. For some reason, I got knocked off and then I went onto my phone. I couldn't connect either. So now I'm back. But should we consider something like name the park, like the Roach Brothers Park for a certain amount of money and you have it for 2 years or something like that? Is that something we could certainly? I mean, that
Naming
would be-
rights, I like that.
Yeah, naming rights. What the heck?
No more school street playground.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Roach Brothers School
Yeah.
Street Playground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
The Roach Brothers Playground on School Street.
Yes, yeah. I
or
like that.
something.
Well, it depends
mean-
how much they contribute, but yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I
yeah.
mean-
Be careful with
mean-
that, because if Needham Bank makes a donation, or if Wegmans and it's Roach Brothers, they're not gonna make any type of significant donation on that.
Right, right.
True.
But maybe a
Yep.
plaque with the sponsors,
I think there's a plaque down there now from the last time the
There is.
fundraising.
There is, yeah.
Yeah.
It's been so long since I've been there.
I
How we
know.
I
funded,
think it would be nice if it was after maybe Mike Gillette, who put so much service, or someone that contributed so many years to the town,
Hmm,
as
Yeah.
opposed to a business name, but that's just my 2 cents.
That's good. That's a good
it's
idea
always
too.
bricks. I mean, that's how we financed the new Morrison Park Field. When I was in the Little League board, we naming rights, corporate sponsors, plaques, bricks, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
People will contribute.
So, as I'll continue to, this will be a regular, maybe probably not every month, of course, but this will be a subject that I'll put on the agenda, a few times, over the next upcoming months, maybe even have someone from the Committee on Disabilities come and talk about it a little bit. And, we'll have maybe some schematics and show you some more detail other than just conceptually. I mean, I literally just got a plan a couple of days ago. So I'll continue to give you more as I get it, but just wanted to introduce this idea that this is something that I was asked to be a part of, like I say, in the past 4-6 weeks or so. And a lot of work to do still, but it's kind of exciting. So.
Great.
All right. And then
Cool.
I'm sorry.
I said pool. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, the pool. So just a couple of quick things. So we just received some high bay LED lights one of them to replace the ones that are there. They're sort of end of life. These were obtained through some grant that Tom Philbin does with the green energy. So those will be installing soon. And then also we are just starting the process to have the pool deck retiled. The goal is to have that work done next April. That's sort of the ideal time frame for the pool. That's when the pool is used the least. And it'll probably be down for at least 3 weeks. And at the same time, we'll have a lot of work done to some of the mechanicals in the pool as well. This is money that was funded as part of this year's capital improvement budget. So I was talking with Jim McCarthy at DPW last week, and he's going to be reaching out to, if he's not already done this, to the engineering firm that we use for aquatics type activities, and they're going to start drawing up a bid spec, and we'll hopefully by this time next month we'll have a bid spec drafted, and we'll be out for bid, so that we can get that process going and we can have everything lined up and scheduled for April. Okay, so that's coming down the pike, and that's going to be quite a big project, and it's going to be, fairly time consuming. So a lot of work that goes into getting those bid specs created, working with the potential bidders, getting all that done, getting everything scheduled, getting everything lined up, and that'll be obviously Sue and I will be working on that, Holly as well. We'll have DPW involved too. So
That will definitely be disruptive to have the pool down for 3
Yeah.
weeks, but we've been talking about this for a long time.
The pool deck is, then next year will be 50 years old.
Yep.
So
Interesting.
And it's in terrific shape for a 50-year-old, tile job, but it's going to be super nice when it's done. So we're excited to have that, but you're right. It's it's going to seem like forever with it being down, but it'll, and there are parts of the mechanicals that need to be refurbed as well. And, we'll line it up so that the pool is down as minimally as possible. And, it's one of those things that you got to take care of your equipment or you'll regret it long term. Right. So I had it's kind of ironic, just as a side note, we had a swim meet going on probably 2 weeks ago now, maybe not even. And it was a Friday and it was late and I was the only one in the office, and this guy wanders in. He's like, yeah, I'm here for the swim meet. My kids are competing. And he happened to sell stainless steel pool liners for old pools. And he wanted to know if we'd be interested in that. And I said, well, he's like, how much water are you losing out of the pool? And I like, how much do you think? And he made some number. And I'm like, we're not losing any water, and it's because we maintain the pool so well. Sue's done an amazing job maintaining that pool. And so we want to keep it that way. Right. And so projects like this, there's a small cost to it, but there's a long-term benefit, so.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to compare it to the not maintaining the schools.
Well, it's
If we
funny.
maintain-
A former colleague of mine who no longer works at our department, who shall remain nameless, has called me this summer asking us for our contact of who we use for pumps, because they were losing, I think, 40,000 gallons a day out of their pool. Think about it. A day,
That's-
Wow.
40,000
Wow.
gallons.
Where does
And the
that
pool,
go?
and the pump broke.
The ground?
Where does it go? Under the ground?
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Cheapers. Think of what that would do to the foundation of the building and everything else.
Yeah, well, if we lost that kind of water, it would be catastrophic. So,
Mhm.
yeah. So anyway, the guy was like, wow, that's awesome. Right. So
No, keep up the good work.
that's all on Sue.
Yeah.
So.
And Holly, and Holly.
And eventually,
soon to be Holly.
that'll be all on
Fit
Holly.
into
Holly
it.
has big shoes to fill.
That's right.
So, but
So
she absolutely is capable of doing so.
yeah. So just mentioning the pool updates, obviously, I'm sure I'm not sure if everybody knows, but you've been working typically with Ken Aries and he's going to be retiring. So
That's right.
Does everybody know that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So Ken, who served on the board, who was also, head of the Recreation Commission, is decided, now he's head of operations for public schools and is now going to be retiring. And I think it's like 32 days. Yo, Ken, how's it going? 35 days ago, a few days ago. So it was kind of funny.
Yeah.
Just wanted people to know that Ken's been done a good job.
He'll be
helping us
missed. He's been a great partner.
Do they know who they're replacing him with?
I know that the
Yes,
process
he will
is
be
still
missed.
underway.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Hope it's someone good.
Yeah.
All right. Are there any other items that couldn't have been anticipated prior? How do folks feel about December 20th for the next meeting? The week of Christmas, but
It's okay with me.
it works for me.
Is that in person or is that Zoom?
Well, we're gonna continue to do Zoom. As you know, I asked everybody, their preference, and it was right down the middle. So, until everybody's comfortable with, everybody I think it needs to be unanimous, and I'm fine with continuing to do Zoom. So,
This is easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so.
What's the procedure if someone said they wanted to do Zoom and they changed their mind? Do they just notify you, and vice versa if someone said they wanted to do in person and they changed it?
I think, you know, if I don't hear anything different, we can check in again, you know.
Let's check in
3
December.
months. But I mean, at this point, we're going to the winter and, you know,
Cold and flu, maybe not right before Christmas. I don't see anyone
Yeah.
changing their mind right before Christmas, but maybe the
there's no rush.
Time
There's no
after.
rush, but I just asked just because if everybody wanted to, okay. But if there are people that don't, that's okay
Mm.
too, you know, so there's absolutely no rush. It's what everybody's comfortable with. And, you know, I
Okay.
think I think it should be, everybody should be comfortable. I don't think it should be just majority. I think
Right,
my
right.
personal feeling is that everybody should be comfortable. So I'll continue doing the Zoom and, you know, like you say, it's convenient, right? So,
right, we're in our living rooms or whatever.
yeah. Actually,
Okay.
I'm at Mount Washington right now, but that,
Well, I'm in Hawaii.
yeah.
Actually, my boss is in Hawaii right now. There was
Oh,
a
no
business
way.
trip, a whole bunch of them. It's like, you know, you're on a call and you hear birds tweeting in the background and you know they're outside and it's frustrating. But yeah. Does someone want to make a motion to adjourn?
To adjourn.
Mitch, I'll second it. So Katie, are you in favor?
Yes.
And Joyce, are you?
Yes.
Sheila, you're in favor?
Yes.
And Paul, you in favor?
Yes, I am.
All right, so everyone's in favor. So the meeting, the November 15th meeting is now adjourned at 7:50.
Perfect. Good night.
Have a
everyone.
nice Thanksgiving, everybody.